Hey everybody, John from Slash Bash coming at you with another Choosing Beggar Reddit video, where a Choosing Beggar Maid of Honor just can't stop herself from asking for more and more money. Just how long until this cash river runs dry? Let's jump right in. Some background. My wife had lots of friends growing up through school. They continued into adulthood with less frequency, as normal. However, when we started dating, they ghosted her. Apart from a few work friends and her best friend. To my surprise, her best friend was my cousin's ex-girlfriend. When I was 14, she moved from up north at 16 and lived at my grand's house with my cousin and aunt. During this time, my grandmother used to complain she was eating all the food, smoking all the cigarettes she bought my cousin, and call her a user. She was always a pleasant girl, and we were somewhat friendly. Fast forward to the post-engagement. My wife asked her to be the maid of honor, and my wife's sister and a close friend to be bridesmaids. So we of course paid for all their outfits, shoes, dresses, accessories, and we were paying for their hair and makeup to be done. The lovely bridesmaid then offered to do the makeup as a wedding gift to us, knowing how expensive wedding makeup is, and she's a professional beauty therapist, the same as my wife. Everything falls into place and is going excellent. We are getting married 2 hours away and offered to pay for the wedding party's rooms. However, my father-in-law said he'd pay for his and wife's sister's. He also gave us money toward the wedding, as he was a traditional type. My brother said he'd pay for his and my father's. My mother is sadly not with us anymore. And my brother's girlfriend was home in Portugal for medical treatment not available in the UK at the time. So we paid for 2 nights for mother-in-law's room, maid of honor, my room for the night before the wedding, the bridal suite was included in the wedding package, and the photographer's room. Lovely bridesmaid insists on paying her own room, saying she's honored to be part of the wedding. All is fine. The maid of honor is a single mom with a 12-year-old son. She doesn't work and is on a pretty darn low state benefits. Over the course of the year, she starts talking to a guy online in New York. And she manages to talk another friend into paying for her ticket to go visit this guy, roughly 3 weeks before the proposed hen do she was meant to be planning, and had picked the activities, but not booked anything. And she messages lovely bridesmaid to ask her to do it instead, as she's too busy. She flies to New York to meet this dream man. Comes home 2 weeks later and messages my wife to say she can't afford to go to the hen do as the activities cost £75 and she doesn't have any money. Wifey was upset, so I offered to pay for her share and my wife's share, as maid of honor had said she'd cover both of theirs, but spent all her money while visiting dreamy New Yorker. I felt compelled to do what I could to make my wife's hen do special, as I'd went with 8 friends to Prague for mine. With my best man covering my share, he wouldn't let me pay. And all my friends had covered their own share, and her friends couldn't afford to go away, so it was in our home city of Edinburgh. Hen do comes and goes. Choosy Beggar comes, but drinks only the free table drinks and eats the free meal. Wife-to-be has a great night, and lovely bridesmaid has organized lots of great things and made gifts, put a lot of thought into the night to make it special. I made a joke about how lovely bridesmaid should be the maid of honor, a joke I fully meant seriously, and my wife said I was right, but she couldn't do that to Choosy Beggar and asked her to step down. Later that week, Choosy Beggar phones in tears as she has no money and no food for her child, and her benefits are 4 days away. I gave wife-to-be my credit card and told her to take her food shopping to get some food for her and the kid, and that she doesn't have to pay us back. Note, this is a week after returning from New York. She spends a small amount, around £40 from memory. This was summer 2018, a month before the wedding. I don't remember exactly how much. 2 weeks later, dreamy New Yorker flies to Edinburgh to live with Choosy Beggar. Choosy Beggar asks if he can be added to the guest list to come with her son and her. We of course said yes, and let the wedding planner know and paid for the extra meal. Now the week of the wedding arrives. she sends a photo of Dreamy in his new suit for the wedding. A Viking-looking mofo in a baby blue suit, like Dumb and Dumber if you know the movie. But hey, it's all good. We say can't wait to meet him in person, etc. 2 days before the wedding, Choosing Beggar phones and says Dreamy has looked at hiring a car to come to the wedding, but he can't afford it, so we will need to give them a lift there and back. I said to wife-to-be that I had plans for us after the wedding, that we could take them down, then drop them at the train station the day everyone's going home. I sent her a screenshot of the train cost. It was £24 for all 3 of them to get home. She calls back 20 minutes later, saying she can't pay this, and we should pay it, since we can't bring them back after all. I refused. She'd gotten to the end of my tether in helping her, and she now had this man from New York, who surely didn't come here with no money and no job. He's an artist. So she now refuses to come to the wedding, saying it's unfair as we're paying for everyone to get their hair done, but she doesn't need hers done because she has dreadlocks, so we are being unfair to her. And that lovely bridesmaid is doing the makeup, so don't be cheap. My wife hangs up crying her eyes out, but she also refuses to pay for it, having grown increasingly sick of being used by Choosing Beggar, with the hen do, shopping, all the wedding expenses, for her to be so ungrateful. So I WhatsApped the maid of honor saying wife-to-be is upset that we can't afford to pay for the train, unfortunately. She messaged back saying, "It's only £24. You have money, you have your own business." I replied a little irate saying, "We've paid for everything else for you. I'm sorry, but if it's only £24, I'm sure Dreamy can afford it too. He didn't come 5,000 miles with no money, surely." She then calls me screaming down the phone, "F you! How dare you ask him to pay to be part of your wedding? He spent money on a suit. It's not his job to pay for it." I asked why it's my job to pay for it then, and she just screams, "F you! You're an effing fat prick, and I wouldn't come now even if you pay for it. Go F yourself, and wifey can go F herself too," and hangs up. So I was wrong for expecting this guy, who wasn't even invited and I've never met, to pay for himself and his new family to get home from the wedding, when we've paid for literally every other penny associated and more. Once wifey stops crying, she phones lovely bridesmaid and asks if she will be maid of honor, and explains the situation. Lovely bridesmaid says it would be amazing, but also if she still does want Choosing Beggar to be maid of honor, they would hire a bigger car to take them all home. They have a very small hatchback. We said no, she's no longer welcome. We'd like you to be maid of honor instead. It should have always been you since the hen do. Lovely bridesmaid's fiancé came to my stag do in Prague, having only met me a handful of times, and we became great friends. And I promised him I'd try to get lovely bridesmaid turned into maid of honor, as she deserved it. So he knew we really wanted this, and just didn't have the heart to ask Choosing Beggar to step down. In just 24 hours, she'd managed to create a bridal box for my wife with lots of little distress items, like sleep spray, calming tea, nice chocolates, etc., for the night before the wedding, and stayed with her in the bridal suite watching movies and talking. Wedding day comes, and she gets up and gives a heartfelt, emotional, and funny as heck speech she managed to write after being asked. Although, stole my cheesy joke about even the cakes and tears. The wedding goes fantastically. Wedding planner, the day before wedding, rearranged the tables to remove the extra places, and had our custom seating plan reprinted with lovely bridesmaid at top table with us. No one misses Choosing Beggar at all. Choosing Beggar gets computer upgrade for free. This happened quite a few years ago now, but it still irks me. Some background. I have a technical background, but worked as a customer service call center supervisor for a major computer manufacturer. So when things got technical, I was called to assist. An agent tells me that the customer is unhappy with their system performance and would like a refund. As in any case like this, I take a look at the customer's call history. At no point had they called technical support. They also had purchased their computer 5 years prior and were well out of warranty. I spent over 3 hours explaining to this customer that of course his PC was slower than his brand new one at work. I could recommend some things that would speed it up marginally, but that ultimately this PC had about half of the speed power as his work one. Well, I want a refund then. No one told me this when I purchased it. Sir, your computer is over 5 years old. Refunds are only issued within the first 30 days. Technically, this system, given its age, the components are obsolete. Fine. Then I want a new computer. Starts listing off specs. Sir, I can certainly get you over to my contact in our sales team to arrange that. I'm certain that system will give you the speed you are looking for. No, you are not listening. I do not want this slow computer anymore. You send me the new system. I send this one back to you. It's win-win. And how's that? This way, lawyers don't have to get involved. I start in on the script for legal involvement, while also explaining that contractually, he doesn't have a leg to stand on. He escalates. We have one manager on duty. Nice guy, but not technical nor customer focused. He came from the training department and he meant well, but didn't really understand policy. I explain the situation, he takes the call. He has a very long-winded conversation for over an hour. I do other supervisor things in the meantime, assured that it would be dealt with. So, you'll have to make sure his personal details are up to date. Why? Because we're sending him the new system he wants. That is contrary to every policy. You also know that his original system was $1,100 and the setup he wants is $5,300. Oh, wow. I wait for the light bulb moment. Well, I already promised it, so... I get back on the phone with Choosing Beggar, who is decidedly smug about his interaction. Still makes my blood boil after 12 years. This has been John from Slash Bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then please hit the subscribe button, drop a like, share it with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one.